This
So let's
conference will now be recorded.
detailed discussion. See, I'll go to the topic and explain. Let me directly the example. Now you know the concept of inheritance, right? So what I would like to do is I would like to go to the Eclipse and show the example with show the example of overriding with program. Okay, now let us see this. I came to the example directly because I believe more in understanding something more with example rather than going with pages of theory. So first I would like to talk it directly with a small example. You don't need all this for now. You don't need these many methods, all this stuff. This is overloading example we had discussed in the last session. I think we missed few people today due to the link change. I'm not sure if they have no issues. They can recap it in the YouTube and have sessions will be. Okay, that's fine for us. Now, okay, guys, if you see this, let's see this now. If you see this, I'll take two classes. So we are talking about overriding with a direct practical example, so that you don't need to strain much to understand overriding. So we need two classes here. One is a parent and the other one is a child class. That is one thing. First thing, whenever you go for overriding, and here overriding happen between two things in Scala. This Java, it is only one thing. I am not talking Java here. I am only explaining Scala. This is Scala. So overriding happens between one is a parent and child class. That is one thing. Between parent and child class. That is one thing. Second thing is overriding is applicable for methods and variables. So we can override methods and variables. Okay, here we can do both, but in Java we can override only methods, but you cannot override variables. But in Scala you can override variables. We'll talk all that point by point. Okay, instead of rushing everything, let's have a detailed and clear discussion. Okay, so now if you take this an example, let us just understand it quickly. Method overriding with a simple example. Let's inherit B1 from A1. Now in this parent class, I am defining one method. Hope all of you know how to declare, right? Yes or no? I am declaring one method in the parent. For now, I made the return type as unit. Might be you can change the return type to anything else if you want. So now the question is, I'm just adding some print statement. Usually in a real code, in a real-time project, instead of prints, you have some business logic. Okay, we will come to the point. First, I'm quickly explaining what is override. Nothing more than that. Okay, so I'm just saying here hello in the parent class method. Okay, now I'm going to the child. So this is, if you see this is a method in parent. Of course, let me correct this type. This is a method in parent class. Now, you know, method overriding means we just discussed. Overriding is applicable for methods and variables. Now we are discussing method overriding. What is it? You have a method in a parent. Now, I am not satisfied with this implementation. For my current requirement, the implementation of parent class method is not satisfied, is not suitable. Okay, so it is not going to the requirement. You got the point, right? So then what do I do? Then in this object oriented programming, starting from C++ or before that, if you have any OOP before that, even it follows the same. Starting from C++ to your Java, your Scala, your Python, and as well as the other language is C#. If you look at any language, if you are not satisfied with the implementation of a superclass method, we override the same method with same signature. It is not going to change. We use the same signature and we declare the same method in the subclass. Means you see this, I just copied and pasted in the subclass. Okay, and this is overriding. Do you have any problem with the internet? Is it only for Suresh or anybody has the issue? Okay, then it's fine. Then Suresh has some problem, network issue. Yeah, Suresh should have some network issues. Okay, no issues. Now you see, we have declared same method of parent in the child. Of course, if you declare same logic, if the logic is same, then there is no meaning of declaring or overriding method of parent in child. Overriding is nothing. If you declare a method of parent class in a child class with same signature, signature means that method name and return and parameters. Method name plus parameters is nothing but signature of a method. And usually return type will be implicit part of any method signature. This heading, just to remember or understand, this heading of method usually we call it as signature, or it is also called as prototype. Okay, so now if you declare same method of parent class in child class with same signature but with different implementation. What do you mean by different implementation? The logic should change. If you are having the same logic in the child class, it is foolishness. There is no meaning in that. So what is that should change here? Logic should change. Okay, that is fine. But still I have some error here. You can see here, right? This is perfect overriding, sir. There is nothing wrong in that. This is perfect overriding. But in Scala, when you override an instance method, all of you know this. This is a perfect instance method. Correct? Usually we don't declare static methods in class in Scala. If at all, if we should declare static or global methods, we declare that inside singleton objects. And we had a very detailed discussion about that. You remember, I hope. Then if I override this instance method in the subclass, one thing you have to do is before this method, I should know that this is overridden method. I should know this is overridden method. How do I know that this is overridden method? For that, before this method in the subclass, I use this keyword nothing but override keyword. As soon as I declare this keyword beside this method, you can see this error is just vanished like that. It disappeared. If you see, it have been disappeared. Means what? Before this method, in the subclass method, or with the subclass method, you should declare this override keyword. Means what? It is very clearly telling that this is overriding method. This method in the subclass is overridden. And here, the method in the parent, you call it as a, technically we call this as overridden method, this as overriding method. So what is this method here? This is overridden. Something which had been and which had been undergone some change. And what is this here? This is overriding, something which is making change. Overriding. Do you get my point? So this is simple idea about overriding. Finally, what is the conclusion? Conclusion is simple. What is overriding is defining or declaring method of parent class in child class with same signature but with a different implementation. You got my point? You understand it? I'll give one scenario for you to get a deeper idea, much more bigger idea. Okay, we will take some use cases and we will try to understand. So we are done with this, sir. This is simple idea about overriding. Couple of rules we have to follow here. What are the rules we should follow here? Here, these are the rules we must follow here. If you see, first one, when you are going for overriding, the rule is simple. The signature of both, what is that? You know what is overriding? Overriding is nothing but it's very simple. When a subclass has same method defined as in the parent, of course, I'm reading it in a different way. Okay, same name method as defined in the parent class. It is known as what? Method override. Okay, when do we go for method overriding? If subclass wants to provide different implementation, not the same implementation as of similar to parent, but with a different implementation, then we go for what? Overriding. And that's all. This is a simple idea. Now we have seen an example here. This is a simple idea. This example quickly explains and what are the rules we have to follow. Okay. Now anyhow, this is clearly explaining it, but I want to simplify this. I don't want that is what is it? Defining method of parent class, method of parent in child class, or declaring. If not defining, you can make it as declaring, sir. Method of parent class in child class with the same signature, but with what, sir? But with a different implementation. But with a different implementation. Do you understand this? We had a clear discussion. The same method of parent is declared in the child, but implementation changes. And you call this as what, sir? Override. Now, next one. When should we go for overriding? If you are not satisfied with the implementation of a parent class method, then we override such method in the subclass as per your new requirement. Got it right? It's a simple. I'll give a quick example to remember. It's only just to remember. It doesn't make sense, of course. Suppose you have this proposal, sir. Assume that you are going to marry. Okay. Then usually what happens? Parents will bring some proposal to you, and they will show some girl. Okay. Some what is that? Some Jessie or something like Rasi or something like that. Okay. Some Kajal or Samantha like that. Okay. Whatever names it may be. But suppose you are not satisfied with the proposal. Already you have loved someone. The parent brought some proposal, that is parent class method, and child of course is not satisfied with the proposal because he has his own implementation. He is already in love with someone. What happens now? Marriage will happen at any case, but that marriage is overridden with what? With your implementation. You marry someone whom you are loving, but not someone whom the parent choose. That is overriding. Just a simple idea. Same thing happens. When should we go for overriding? If you are not satisfied with the implementation of a parent method, then we override that in the subclass as per the new requirement. Got it right? So that is what we call overriding. So when should we go for that? If we are not satisfied. If you are not satisfied with the parent class method, with the implementation of a parent class method. Okay, we override it in subclass. What do we do? We override it in subclass. How do you do that, sir? With the current requirement, not with old requirement, with current requirement. That is when we go for what is that, sir? Overriding. You got it? That's it, sir. This is idea about what is that overriding. When should we go for overriding? And one more small thing. While overriding, you should do one thing. While overriding, we should declare what, or we should use which keyword, sir? We should use override keyword. Override keyword. Where should we use this, sir? With the subclass method. With subclass method. This is what we should do, sir. That's what we have done here, right? We have declared the subclass method with override. Technically, this is feasible, sir. If you don't use this override, you get an error. It's not possible to do this implementation. You get a compilation error. So when you override instance method, a concrete method, see, I'm using two words here. When you override instance concrete method, this is a concrete method. This is a concrete class. What do you mean by concrete class and concrete method? A method with implementation, a method with body is a concrete method, and the class in which it is declared is called as a concrete class. Technically, these are all the terminologies. Okay, you see these terminologies in number of books and websites. Okay, now when you overriding this concrete method, then in such case you should use this override keyword with the subclass method, with the overriding method. Got it right? But topic wise, there is nothing here. You just override method of parent in subclass with a different implementation. Of course, signatures are same. You got the point here. No? So we have covered, or we have listed out all the important points what we have discussed with this example in the analysis of this example. Finally, now what should I do? Now I have done overriding. Now, to which class should I create object? Should I create object for parent or should I create object for child class? You tell me now. Okay. What should I do now? Methods are overridden. Got it right? Now the question is, to which class should I create object? Parent or child, sir? You try both, sir. What is there? You know, we have discussed many times in our inheritance. What is that? We just concluded that creating objects to child class is a good practice in inheritance. That is true, and all of you know that very well. But even here also it is perfect. But we are doing overriding here. Then how that is going to work here? Let's try to understand. And how we can use it in a different way. We should get that point. Okay. Now first of all, I am creating object for parent. Of course, your answer is correct. It is recommended to create object for child class always in inheritance, no doubt about it. But it is not like we should not create object for parent. If you want, you can create it. Even this point is clearly discussed. Okay. But now I created object for parent, and then I said M1 here. Okay. So I said M1. Okay. Now I am creating object for child. B, new B1. And again I am calling B dot M. Okay, this is also fine. Now you tell me, sir, just a tough questions for you. I am going to ask you some complex questions. So let me see. how you are going to solve this, how we are going to handle this. What is the output we get here, sir? What output we get here? This is a parent object. Now I am calling parent method. What is that I get here, sir?
Hello.
Yes, perfect. You get hello. What about here? What is your answer here?
Hi.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to give one more scenario. Now this is little, you should think twice before answering this. Okay, this is a little different, and you might have seen this. I have explained somewhere. Maybe if you recollect, little couple of days back, but we'll see. So what I'm doing now is where a colon a1 equal to new b1. No, what is the issue? Just a minute. Okay, the issue is not with this one. A is already there, sir. So I put A1 now. Okay, this is perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Then A1 dot M1. I told you, right? This is little different, but still I had discussed. Now, if you see here, this is a bit strange declaration. Got it right? It's a bit strange here. We didn't do this so far in our programming. Usually, this scenario is applied only when you have override. Okay, only when you have overriding, then only we bring in this use case, this scenario. Otherwise, in remaining scenarios or remaining cases, we don't apply this. Now you look at this statement. This is a very beautiful, wonderful point, sir. To be frank, when I see such things in programming, this is really like this is one of the very beautiful point in object oriented. And this one point, based on this single thing, many frameworks are built. You talk about Spring framework in Java, Hibernate framework in Java, and even your Scala framework. In many cases, in Scala, this one particular scenario, it becomes one of the basic principle for building such frameworks. First, let's analyze what's happening here. What is the statement doing here? One thing is very clear when you look at it. The reference is whose reference? Whose reference is this? Is it a parent reference? Is it a child's reference? Child is B1, parent is A1. Now you tell me whose reference is this, sir? By looking at this, you don't need to have any second thought. It is a parent. Now whose object is this? Child object, right? What's happening here? A parent reference is referring to a child object. How beautiful this is. This is the basis for loose coupling, sir. This is the basis for loose coupling. Yes. Okay. So one of the very, very beautiful topic. If you want me, I will show you. In many frameworks, they use this loose coupling. Okay. So what is this here now? So one thing, when you have overriding, you have to remember this. This is one of the very important. This is applicable in all object-oriented programming languages. You can do this for C++. You can do this for Java. You can do this for C#. You can do for Scala, or you can try to do this with the Python also. But there will be some differences. You don't need to care about. But that will anyhow you understand it when you get to that conviction of that language. Now, what is that? Usually not only in Scala, in OOP, usually this is applicable in overridings. You bring in this, you pitch in this point when you come to this overriding. In object-oriented programming, a superclass reference can refer to what is that, sir? Can refer to a subclass object. A subclass object, comma. What is this, sir? This is the basis for loose coupling. You know this, sir? Now, when you start discussing triads, when you start discussing many more things, even in the last session, pattern matching with the case classes. When I directly straight away, when I took the example, there was a little delay in the understanding. Okay, because we didn't discuss that. I told you we'll again discuss this and go back to that example, right? Now, if you see here, this is one thing. What is that? Usually, in any object-oriented programming, a superclass reference can refer to a subclass object. Got it, right? And this is basis. Of course, vice versa is not possible, sir. Somebody might come up with a question. What is that, sir? Does a subclass reference refer to superclass object? No, that is illegal. You get ClassCastException. If you want me, I will show you in our current program itself. Okay, but what is it? A superclass reference can refer to a subclass object. That is one thing. We always in this object-oriented programming, properties are inherited from parent to child, not from child to parent. That is also one more important. Okay, and this is basis for what is this, sir? Loose coupling. Basis for what, sir? Loose coupling. Technical word, sir. You don't need to. Okay. So confused. You don't need to get confused with this term. This is purely technical. Loose coupling, and the other one is what? Tight coupling. You get my point? So this is the idea about what is that, sir? This about the simple idea about this one. Now the question is, what is the output you are going to get here? What is the output you see here? That is the question. What do you get here, sir?
Hi.
Okay, you get hi or you get hello?
Hi.
Okay, how many of you are hi? How many of you are hello? You cannot get hello, hi. That's not possible. You get either hello or you get either hi. Okay, maybe. Okay, if it is high, why it is high? Why not hello? That is the next question. Okay, you are correct. I agree with your answer. If it is high, why it is high? Why not hello? There is a very clear technical reason behind this. Okay, you are giving perfect answers. No doubt, your answer is perfectly correct. But why it is high? Why not hello? That is the question. The answer is simple. Usually, this is runtime polymorphism. Okay. When you go to the runtime polymorphism, a runtime polymorphism occurs based on object, not based on reference. If it is compile time, overloading, I told clearly. Compile time polymorphism occurs based on reference, but not runtime. Always keep in mind, a runtime polymorphism occurs based on object. You don't need to look what is there at this left side of this assignment. What is the reference? Whose reference is this? Is not. We don't need to care about that. Just you look at this. Whose object is this? If object is child, then by default, blindly the method of this child class method is called. So the method of this object is called. Got it, right? Blindly, what happens? Your JVM is going to call method of child, but not method of parent, even though the reference is parent reference. Why? Because in overriding, overriding is part of runtime polymorphism. Okay. And it always occurs based on object. And whose object is this? Child object. That's it. Okay. So that's why you are perfectly correct, because as you are targeting this child object, as you are saying that hi is coming from where? From child method. Means what? The object belongs to child and method from child is called. If you have any doubt, yeah, correct. Here, this approach gives us a base for loose coupling, of course. Why? How it is useful for us means this will definitely bring in one of the very beautiful no design pattern kind of thing. What we call it as loose coupling. This will provide loose coupling, and that is possible with this overriding runtime polymorphism. Okay. So now let's run this and let's try to understand the outputs. Observe the outputs. Let's conclude whether we were correct or not. I am using printer, because yesterday we have Python session, right? Yesterday before yesterday. So now it had overridden my mind also. My subconscious is overridden with Python. Same concept is applicable here. In weekdays we are doing Scala. In weekend, the latest session is Python. It is overridden. Now if you look at the outputs, what's happening in the first case? It is the parent and the reference and object belongs to parent class. Hello is printed. In the second case, the reference and object belongs to the child, then hi is printed. In the third case, reference belongs to parent and object belongs to the child, but as per overriding and as per the principle of programming, object-oriented programming, a runtime polymorphism occurs based on object, but not based on what, sir? It doesn't occur based on reference. So whose object is this? Child. Then the method from child is called, but not from the parent. So the output is high here. If you look at it, again we are seeing high here. So it is coming from the child itself. I think this is clear, right? You got the points here, right? So what is that? Finally, this is idea about overriding in a just what is that? Brief discussion. But we have many things to understand. But we'll go to that and we try to get into the roots of that. Okay. But in a simple discussion, this is the concept of overriding. Is this got it right? So finally, what you do? What I request is test this example, sir. First, you will just get some hands-on practice with this. Then I'll use some use case, and also we will discuss what is that. Few more scenarios on overriding. Okay. One more important point. We should use override keyword. When this override keyword must be used, this is mandatory if you are overriding what? Overriding instance method. When it is mandatory, if you are overriding instance concrete method. Got it right? So note, it is mandatory to use a override keyword when if we are overriding what is that, sir? Instance concrete method. You can see instance concrete method. Got it right? So that's it. Is that clear to all of you, sir? Now, anything else missing here? We have discussed all this. And one more scenario, one more use case, sir. This out of your curiosity. Sometimes we are very curious. You might be asking, sir, why don't we have a subclass reference? Whose reference? Subclass reference and parent class object. Immediately we get a compilation error. Can you see that? Type mismatch found. But if I do the same for this, okay, if parent is superclass, if reference is superclass and object is subclass, we don't have any problem. But if I do the same vice versa, if I do that in opposite, what's happening? I'm seeing a compilation error. Okay, with my strength and force, I will try to overcome this issue. Okay, how we can overcome this? How do I overcome this? We can apply some casting also. Right? As instance of something. I'll try to make it as instance of B1. Let us just try to make it as a B1. Now, what did I do, sir? Forcefully, I converted this object A1 to B here. You can see, we had discussed this scenario, sir. Typecasting, if you remember long back, okay, in the beginning sessions, we had discussed this. You remember, sir? So what I tried here, forcefully I converted this object A1 to B1 type. This is called casting. Do you think this will work, sir? Do you think this is going to work? I don't think this will work, sir. Why? Because as per the principle, as per the rule, a superclass reference can refer to a subclass object. But a subclass reference doesn't refer a superclass object. And if you by default you get a compilation error, that itself is a clear indication you are not going in a right way. But sometimes we can overcome that with casting. So we have done casting there. But still, what is the issue? It leads to an exception here. You can see here now. It leads to an exception. What is that exception? If you observe carefully, a class cast exception. What is that you are seeing here, sir? As I have discussed earlier. Because you need to get into the details of all this. Tomorrow, when you are working on a real project, you are going to see all these exceptions also. To face these exceptions, don't think that I am discussing this for time pass or just for this namesake. You face these exceptions frequently in a real project. The most quite common exceptions which occur in a real-time project. Null pointer exception, class cast exception, index out of bounds exceptions. Many more are there. We'll keep discussing. And this is one of the most common exception that we see in a real project. Not just in Scala, even in Java, even in C#. Now, Barsar is there here. So he knows he will be seeing so much of these exceptions in C# as well. Okay, so finally, do you think this will work for us? This won't work. This is not legal also. It is illegal. Maybe if you look at the error, what it is saying somewhere, usually sometimes it will show it is illegal. Okay, but now it's not showing here. So finally, what is the pointer? Just remove this, sir, and keep this point in mind, sir. Got it right? What is this? Another important point is we cannot otherwise a subclass reference cannot refer to a superclass object. If we try that, what happens, sir? We get ClassCastException. Cannot refer to superclass object. Okay. And what happens here? If you try to do that, we get a compilation error. And if you try to overcome that, we get ClassCastException. So we get a compilation error. That is one thing. Suppose if you try to overcome this, what happens if you try to do casting? ClassCastException. If we try to, okay, apply casting and continue. What happens, sir? And continue. It leads to ClassCastException. Okay, what exception? ClassCastException. You need to have all this information, sir. You might think, I'm just discussing all this just for namesake or like that, but you definitely understand the importance when you start working in a project. So that's the idea about all these use cases, sir. So what I request is, why don't you please test this code? Then we will take few more use cases and we will work on them. Then okay, and then we'll go to the next topic. What else is there? We'll see, and then probably this is about overriding, sir. And we'll discuss more with these examples are same as usual again. We'll talk about field overriding of that, and then we'll talk about super keyword probably tomorrow, not today. First, you finish this testing these examples. Just have some practice. Today, I think we have a lot of guests coming and going. Problem is when you are in the middle of this session, what happens is that for them they may or may not get the concept. That is the problem. What do you say, Sudarshan? Following?
Yes, Manohar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
So please test it, sir. I think this is a clear idea about overriding. We can discuss more. And remember this last case. This is very important, sir. And probably tomorrow and day after tomorrow, you see how useful this concept is going to be, how important this is going to be. You are going to see the application of this particular use case in next coming 1-2 sessions. Just confirm once you are done, sir. Then we'll move to the next topic, folks. Hope you like this overriding topic. Okay. If you are done, then what do I do is this is all same, sir. I don't think the examples are same, just with different things. That's all. Might be here one more important point is there is another method what we call abstract methods, and we see that overriding abstract methods. When we go to the next topic after this, we discuss abstract classes and abstract methods. Then even there we are going to use overriding. After that we'll talk triads. There also triad is more pure abstract, where you have more abstract methods. Even there we are going to use overriding. Got it, right? And in many cases in a real-time project, we are going to use this, because right now we are working on some application. In that application, abstract class and abstract methods are quite common. This is one of the most used design principle in object-oriented program. Got it, right? So this is done. Now let's move to the next topic. What is it? We don't. These examples are silly examples. Nothing more. Nothing to be worried too much. Now field overriding. What is this? Now we have seen method overriding. Instance concrete method overriding. Now we are going to talk about field overriding. Suppose, how do you do field overriding? You have a variable here, sir, where subject colon int equal to some type. Usually, when you declare something in a superclass, you can remove all these methods, sir. For now, let's only concentrate on variable overriding, or you can also call it as field overriding. Anything is fine. Now, I have a variable like this. Don't come to a conclusion whether this is going to work or not. Okay, let's observe this. Now I try to override var variable. And again, I'm saying var a colon int equal to 20. Okay, immediately I have an error here. Can you see that? What is that error? Overriding variable a in class A of type int. Okay, of course, it is asking one more thing. What is that? It is asking override keyword. Same like override method. If you override instance variable of parent in a child class, means what? Overriding is simple. By now, you would have got that clarity. Declaring method of variable of parent in same variable of parent class in child class. Okay, same variable but with different value. You got this point, right? That's what we call overriding variable. Usually you don't need it. Usually you don't need it. Okay, why? Because the same variable of parent class is inherited to child. Okay, right, correct. Now if you see this, example, what is that? If you see this example, now I am trying to override var variable. I have it asked me when I declare it, when I try to override, the compiler asked me to use this override keyword before that variable. Now I have done that. When you override a method or a variable, this keyword is must here, no doubt. And these are instance variables. You are very clear. But still I am seeing error. What is the issue here? Issue is simple. Overriding variable A in class A1 of type int. What it is saying is variable A cannot override a mutable variable. This is very important. Whenever you go for overriding, this is one thing you have to keep in mind. You cannot override this mutable variables. You know, right? These are mutable variables. Then you next question our answer is then what variables I can override. Now we have discussed that we have field overriding or variable overriding in Scala. If that is there, then which variable can I override? Then we just concluded var is not possible. It is out of scope. Now the remaining one is val variable. Suppose just change the signature to val here. The modifier, put this modifier as val here instead of val. And now here also change this to val here. Now save this. So something 1 minute. Remove this override keyword now. Override 1 minute. This time. Override val a colon int equal to sum. This is fine. Not allow for classes. Okay. Just a minute. I missed something. This is about methods. Anyhow, we are clear with methods. I just want to see what's missing with variable. Override val correct only. So this is fine. Why I am seeing an error? V1 extensive. So spelling is correct. Things are correct. Declared extending is done. So issue. Perfect. By default, it is public. Still, it is private, then there is an issue. This is a public variable, so no issue with that. So this is not mutable variable. We make it as valid. What's missing? Okay, override not here. So, something is not allowed. So this is the issue, I hope. You know, I'll tell you what is the, if it is working, then I'll tell you. Now what happened is, instead of val, I put 1. This is not val, va1. Got it? So I was wondering, no, you get the point here, right, folks? So now I think you understand this, right? What is it? We can apply overriding for which variables? Immutable variables, not for mutable variables. So, and here also, this is an immutable variable. And why this is allowed only for immutable variables and why not for mutable variables? It's simple, sir. Suppose in subclass, for some reason, I want to change the value of this variable, okay, which is there in parent. I don't want to use the same variable as is that is there in the parent. But for some reason, due to some constraint, I want to change the value of this variable. Variable should be same. Then if it is var, we can modify it and you don't need to override it, sir. If it is var variable, it's mutable. If it is mutable, you can change to whatever value you want in the subclass, no problem. But if it is val, you cannot change it. Then what you can do? Then in such case, as it is immutable, the other option for us is what? You can override it and change it as per the requirement of subclass. You got the point? Got it right? That's the idea. Nothing more than it, sir. Then now you can just here just create object for the subclass var space b equal to new b1. Okay. So then after that b dot, you can just print that which one, sir? B dot a. Just say print of or println of b dot a. Now you try to run this. You got 20 here because the object is subclass object and reference is subclass. In this case, by default, you get what is that? You get the variable from the subclass itself. Okay, got it right? You got 20. Overridden values. Okay. Suppose if I want the value from a class, then create object for a and try to call it from a. Right? Because in this case, it's not possible. As you have a variable, similar variable in subclass in child class, and same variable is there in parent. Now, priority is always high for the subclass, not for the parent class variable. Whichever is in the scope of subclass, that has more priority. Whichever is in the parent will have next priority. Suppose there is no variable a in the subclass, then the priority goes to the inherited variable a, which is there in the parent. Now you have a variable, a similar variable in b, then that variable itself is called. Immediately Srikanth asked me a question. Okay, sir, if I want to call that variable of a class from b, I want to call both a and b, sir, not just a from b, but I want to call a from a from b. I want to call a from a class also. How do I do that? That is where we have to introduce super key. Got it, right? Do you understand this? So let me try this. If this works here, just take a simple method, or otherwise even constructor is there, right? If you just print it with constructor also, it will work. Okay, you can directly say print of A here. You remember, right, sir? Once upon a time we have discussed this, the constructor concept. You can directly use print statements here in a class. You can directly use business logic in a class. Means what? All this is going to what? It is added to the constructor, default primary constructor. Okay. Now suppose I say print, okay, println. I say println of, let me use super keyword, sir. Super dot. When I say super dot, you can see, sir, I applied super keyword here. Usually this should work. Okay, here it is, they were asking only this for methods. Okay, fine, no issues. Then we can do one thing then. Just declare a simple method, define, okay, something like get a equal to, just use this partial function. You can use partial function because we are returning the simple value here. Just initialize it here. That's all. Now what do you do now? Here apply super dot get a. This is more like getter concept. Okay. Then now this is going to, somehow I am able to get the variable of parent class in the child class when both parent and child have same variable. Okay, what I am doing now? Usually we can use super keyword with variables in methods in Java, probably even in C#. I'm not sure about in C#. But here, no, this is applicable with methods, that calling with variables is avoided, but still we can return that through method. We don't have a problem. Still, we know, right? We can even use methods like variables in Scala. That is one of the strength of Scala. We don't need to get worried about that. So I just made a partial function and just returned it, and I am trying to call. Maybe if I want, I can initialize to some local variable in this method, in the constructor, okay, or in the method wherever I want. Now you run this now. Just run this. You don't need to do anything. This time even you don't need to call this because we have directly printed in the constructor. When object is created, this constructor is automatically called, and automatically when I print A, you get value of B class. When I print super dot get A, the value of parent is returned. Let's just try this. Got it, right? What's happening here? When I say super dot get A, I'm getting 20, 20 here. I should get 20 and 10. That is super method, not super keyword. Correct, you are correct. When it is super keyword, what happened to this again? You are getting 20, 20. We cannot modify immutable variable. Somehow I am getting same for both. Something is missing here. Okay, sir. We'll continue because this has to be discussed. Again, we need to continue this. This is not going to stop here. We need to talk with super with methods. We'll do one thing. We will conclude it in tomorrow's session. Today, I think you got an idea, right? This is idea about overriding variables. And when you override what? When should we go for overriding? When the variable is a val type, then you go for overriding. If it is var, you don't need to go for overriding. We had discussed the reason. Var means you can modify it from any subclass. Val we cannot modify. So in some situations, you might need to modify that variable for some reason, of course, due to some business rule reason. We have some business rule which needs to modify this val type. So then in such case, the choice is we can go for overriding val, right? So then you can initialize with whatever value you want here. Then you can try to print it. And the super thing, how to call variable of parent in child with the super. I will just check it on this, sir. Might be something I am missing here. I will just explore it, and tomorrow we'll just discuss. It's not something, what is that, difficult as it. Just we need to apply like this only. I'll just check and update. Okay. There are different ways, of course. Still, without super also we can try to get this value from A. If I should get value of A, there are different ways for that. What is that? If you directly call get A, this is another way. Of course, as we are using partial function, if I say get A, definitely this time still I am getting what is this? Oh, this is little okay. I will explore this. Okay. Anyhow, I struck up on something new here. We'll see tomorrow. Right? Okay, sir. Already it's almost 10:30 or 10:40. We'll meet tomorrow and continue with the overriding methods, and then after that we'll go with abstract classes. I will also fix this issue. Is this calling of parent to child here? Okay. Any more questions other than this? Clear, right? About overriding methods, the rules, what should change, what should not change, rules of overriding method, rules of overriding variables. When should we go for overriding? Usually, what kind of methods need override keyword? I think all these things are clear, right? Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow, sir. Thanks. Thank you.